Hello all! Welcome to the MudRoom, our weekly free and live uncommon sense parenting class. How is everyone? Happy June! June is always a very busy month for my family. Both my parents' birthdays are in June. My youngest's birthday is in the middle of June. My eighth wedding anniversary is this month. And of course, there's all the craziness that comes with it being the last month of school, and my husband is also away. So, if you're the praying kind, pray for me. Right, so if you're watching, please say hello. Let me know that you're here. If you're watching the replay, give me a replay in the comments. For those of you who are new, please allow me to introduce myself. My name is Allana Robinson, and I'm a parenting effectiveness coach. I work with parents of toddlers and preschoolers, helping them understand why their children are misbehaving and how to fix it without yelling, shaming, or using timeouts. I am your host here on the MudRoom. I'm also hosting my free peer support Facebook group, The Parenting Posse, and Uncommon Sense Parenting is my brainchild. So, speaking of the Parenting Posse, hey Kristen, hey Vera! Hey, seeing you ladies tonight. Okay, so speaking of the Parenting Posse, the other week I posted what I thought was a pretty simple question, which was, what is your biggest fear around letting go of behavior management and going all in on skill building? And oh my goodness. Y'all, I got so many amazing answers. And I had some really great conversations with several people in the comments. And there were just so many different perspectives, many of which were new to me, so we'll eventually talk about all of them. But one that multiple people brought forth was this fear of having to teach everyone around you how to parent too. Like, a lot of you said you understood it, you really believe in skill building, you want to do it, but the fear of having to educate everyone around you is stopping you. You're afraid that every time you do something different, someone is going to challenge you, and then you're not only going to have to deal with your kid, but now you need to make time to, give Nosy Nancy a crash course on behaviorism. So, hey Laura! So I'm not going to sugarcoat this. Yeah, you are. Here's the thing, as millennial mothers, we are in a very unique and frustrating position. See, never in time before have we ever known more about how children develop and how they learn, and yet never before has there ever been such a massive gap between what we know about children and what we're applying. I mean, think about it. One guy wrote a paper, not even a book, a paper in the 50s about timeouts, and it's 2019 and we are still hung up on it. The science doesn't support it, but it's still very widely done in daycares, schools, and households all over the world. And yes, part of that is because there was much less volume of information floating around. One guy writing a paper was then read much more widely because there were a lot fewer papers being written and a lot fewer of them available, especially on any one subject. And now, everyone and their uncle is publishing research daily, and you can access it all at the touch of a button. But honestly, if you boil it all down, all of that research on child development is largely saying the same thing, just using slightly different language and nitpicking a bit on the finer points. It all supports child-directed learning, executive function development, learning through play, active learning, collaborative problem solving, pro-social skills, and I could just go on and on and on. And yet, even with the abundance of research that we have that all basically says the same thing, we are still not heeding it. So yes, as a millennial mother, you are going to have to advocate for your child. If you truly believe that skills are the key to success, that If men were raised with self-regulation skills, impulse control skills, emotional control skills, flexible thinking, working memory skills, planning and prioritizing skills, organizational skills, and task initiation skills, that the world would be a far different place than it is now. And that if women were raised with those same skills, we would be on equal footing. Then yes, you're right. You're going to have to advocate for it. Because here's the thing. This screwed up system, these messed up power dynamics, these false beliefs about children and learning and respect, they're our parents' fault. Now, it wasn't malicious. I'm not throwing shade on our mother's generation. It was what, at the time, the experts were saying was the gold standard, and they advocated for us. They demanded it, and it very, very quickly became doctrine. It became this norm that we are now fighting. So we owe it to our kids to do the same thing for them, only louder. We have to undo everything our parents did, bless their 70s, 80s, and 90s selves. That was the knowledge of the time. But now we need to demand evidence-based parenting and education until what we know and what we do are in alignment. We owe it to them to advocate for them louder than our parents ever did for us, because that's the only way out. That's the only way to fight this messed up world that we live in, is to raise a generation that can self-regulate, can use their critical thinking and executive skills, and are highly imaginative and divergent thinkers. Hey, Brianna! So yeah. You're right. You're right to worry about that, but at the same time, we need to embrace it, right? Someone is going to challenge you, and you are going to have to, at the very least, say, thank you for your input. If you want to know why I'm doing what I'm doing, please go check out Uncommon Sense Parenting, right? At the minimum, that's the amount of education that you need to do. We are seed planters. We are in the very privileged position of being able to raise a generation of children into adults who can feel their emotions without being overwhelmed by them, think critically, stay calm, and get shit done. But we're not going to be able to reverse that tide without somewhat of an effort. The good news is, though, you have me. You have the entire parenting posse behind you. This isn't something you have to do alone. In fact, you can't do it alone. You alone cannot make this change. I cannot make this change by myself. We need each other to make this change, because every seed counts. Every voice counts. Every time we question something, every time we set boundaries around how we will allow others to interact with our children, every time we push back against the status quo, we are inching ever so slightly forward. We're planting another seed. If you wish for a world where you don't have to explain to anyone why you don't force your children to share, or where nobody tries to shame your child for being a child, where nobody dismisses you or your child's stress, where nobody looks down upon you or your child patronizingly and suggests that you need to assert your dominance, then you need to get over it, and you need to advocate for it, because that world isn't going to come into being on a wish and a prayer. It's not going to happen overnight. It is too late for us, okay? That ship has sailed, but that could be the world that our children get to parent in. So if what is stopping you from jumping into skill building with both feet and leaving the behavior management stuff at the door is that you're scared everyone won't immediately be on board, I want you to come and step into being an advocate with me, okay? I want you to be louder than our mothers were. I want you to feel so confident in your position as the expert on your child that when anyone dares to judge or condescend to you, that bullshit just adds fuel to your fire, right? Many hands make light work. If we are all demanding the same thing, then the less loud any one of us needs to shout. And I totally understand compassion fatigue. I understand advocating fatigue. But that's why the more of us advocating, the less any one of us has to do. Don't feel guilty for not advocating all the time. Like, you don't owe that random mom at the park a crash course in skill building. You can let her go. But with the people that matter, yes, it is worth putting in the effort into advocating. So go out. Be an advocate just by being unapologetically you. If you aren't there yet, but you would love to be, make sure you come join us in the parenting posse. That's step one. Surround yourself with like-minded people and learn through interacting with them. Step two would be to download the scripts for Managing Crazy-Making Behaviour that are in the description, because that's going to give you like your toe dip into skill building. And step three, when you're ready, is taking our 8 skills your child needs to master to be misbehavior proof masterclass. And you can also get the link for that in the description. Okay, together we can change the world. We absolutely can. Holy crap. After a couple of weeks of my comments not working, finally they're working. I'm like, whoa, I get to talk to people again. Shelly, what do you want on a t-shirt? Okay, hold on. Brianna says, sometimes when my kiddo is losing it and we have to leave a place or stop an activity that is overstimulating him, it kind of feels like a timeout or punishment. Can you explain the difference? Yes. Okay. Yes. Okay, so the difference between a timeout, go sit in the corner and think about what you did, and removing your child is from a stressful situation is that you're not shaming them, right? That's the difference, is the shame. A timeout is you did something wrong, now go sit in the corner, possibly with your nose in the corner, and think about what you did. You're a bad, bad child, right? When you recognize that your child is overstimulated, is hyper-aroused, and that is just going to continue to perpetuate with the stimulus that they are currently being given, it's not about, we are leaving because you are behaving badly. No, because we know that their behavior is a communication of their overstimulation. So it's like, I can see that you're overwhelmed, so we're gonna go, right? You clearly need a break. And that doesn't mean that they're going to be happy about it, right? Because they're in red brain, they're very emotional. Everything is a saber-toothed tiger in that moment when you're hyper-aroused. But you're not shaming them. So that's the difference, is the presence of shame. Okay. Laura says, thoughts on putting children in a timeout or self in a timeout when parent feels like they're losing control of emotions and needs a quick break from a child to calm down. Absolutely. Like, don't, again, just like I said, don't put kids in a timeout. It doesn't teach them anything. If you need to remove them from a situation because there's physical danger to them, or because there's physical danger to the people around them, then again, you can move them, but you don't need to shame them in doing that. Your body isn't safe. I want to make sure that you don't get hurt. We're going to go to your room so that we can calm down, right? And then if you need to remove yourself because you're not in danger, again, it's the presence of shame that makes it punishment versus teaching your child what they can do when they're overstimulated. On our part, if you need to take a breather, then heck yeah, go take a breather. Like, it is totally okay. There is nothing ever that is going on unless there's like the house is on fire, somebody's got a gun, like other than very extreme circumstances, there is nothing that is ever happening that is so important and so necessary that you need to react instantly. In fact, I highly recommend you never react instantly. If you can feel yourself going over into red brain, if you can feel yourself losing that grip on your rationality, heck yes, go and take a breather. Give yourself a minute. Go punch your punching bag. Like, that's totally cool. But again, you don't have to shame your child because you're doing that, right? I need a break. I need to go think. I need to go punch my punching bag. We'll deal with this when I get back, right? And off you go. So shame. Shame is the big one. We want to stay away from the shame. Hey, Michelle! Hey, Madeline! Brandon says, that makes so much sense. Empathy, not shame. Awesome. Yes, exactly. Empathy, not shame. Shelly, I still want to know what you want on a t-shirt. I might be able to make that happen for you, girl. Okay. Thank you so much for showing up, guys. It's been great actually getting to talk with you now that my comments are working again. I'm so excited about that. Okay. Excellent. So that is all I have to talk about tonight. So have a great evening, and I will talk to you again next week for another Uncommon Sense parenting class.